off, you can still rail the cushion without much problem.
Oh, we got one around in front of our leaders here, and they're going to bring a caution out. Breeding is going to get shoved out into the kind of the middle of the track here and make contact with 2 or 3 more trucks.
The green flag flies on lap number 25.
And looked like Byers is going to try to make a move on Reynolds. Oh! Whoa, he makes contact!
Big problems there. He's around. He's going to lock it down on the bottom of the track. He is going to lose the second position and pretty much every position made up. Oh, problems right in front of the leader, Nathan Reynolds. Roberts gets through it. Reynolds, I think, is going to be okay, but he's lost all the time that he had built up over Greg Roberts. Roberts to the inside for the race lead. Roberts elects not to slide. Reynolds has the momentum on the top side. He hangs on to P1. Oh, boy, I think there are going to be a lot of drivers who are going to want to forget this night ever happened. Did Reynolds just blow up? Reynolds blew up! Reynolds just blew up! That's the race leader! Oh, my God! It's Greg Roberts to the line to win it. He wins the Dirty Jobs Christmas 80 at Dirt Bristol. And Greg Roberts is a winner with the Venom Truck Series. It was a muddy and messy outing on the dirt before the holiday break, but now, after a couple of weeks to decompress, we're turning up the heat again tonight for 3 turns in Thunder Valley, as we are set for the What Turn 4 55 at Pocono, round number 7 of season number 5 of the Venom Truck Series, here on Turn 200. Welcome back, folks. It's great to be back. My name is Tommy Cook, and the ever-mysterious and mischievous Matt Williamson will be alongside momentarily to help cover all of tonight's action from Pocono, where the Venom Truck Series will be visiting for the second time in series history. The first time the Venom Truck Series came to the Tricky Triangle was back in Season 2, and a photo finish ensued, with Jeremy McKinnon coming back from 21st to beat Andy Policky by 19 one-thousandths of a second at the line. After 6 rounds in Season 5, both McKinnon and Policky are in the top 5 in points, 3rd and 2nd respectively coming into tonight. The man they are chasing has proven to be incredibly consistent this season, and he is Paul Ellison. No wins on the season so far for Ellison, but he has top 5 finishes in 4 of the 6 races thus far. Will tonight finally be Paul's night, or will it be one of the other stars of the Venom Truck Series that will lay claim to Pocono? We will find out around the turn when we return to coverage of the Venom Truck Series here on Turn 200.
A blind night that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Not open here now. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation. Welcome back to all the tricksters here on Turn 200, and King Trickster himself is back in the booth. That is Matt Williamson. King Trickster, are you feeling tricky tonight?
Well, as the King Trickster, I'm always feeling tricky, my friend. And you're pretty tricky with all these darn nicknames you're giving me, calling me mysterious and mischievous in our little intro there.
Yeah, well, I actually don't have a rebuttal to that. Let's talk about the matter at hand here. Is some of these drivers are having a hard time keeping their trucks pointed in the right direction towards the closing minutes of the warm-up here. You and I have been talking about Pocono today for a number of reasons. We have seen some great races here, but they've all been open wheel. These Venom Truck Series drivers, what does it take to get around the tricky triangle?
Yeah, I mean, in these trucks specifically, as it is on pretty much every track, you were talking about people having a hard time keeping their wheels under them, especially when those tires are cold. You really got to be careful, especially here around the tricky triangle. And it is tricky because you have these long straights, a huge front stretch and a big stretch out between turns 1 and 2. And you carry just so much momentum into these turns. A lot of our drivers are going to be downshifting into those corners eventually. Maybe not in the beginning when they still have a lot of tire with them. But as the run goes on, I assume that we'll see some shifting here tonight.
And that shifting is going to play a big part in some fuel strategy. Nothing that we've been a stranger to here on Turn 200, whether it's with the Venom trucks or even last night, what we saw in Truck 200 recruitment race competition. It came down to a split strategy between one stop and a two stop, and the old one stop seemed to be the prevailing strategy. Here in Venom Truck Series competition, we've seen we've seen one stops and two stops go very different directions depending on the venue. At Phoenix, which is kind of a little bit of a scaled down version of Pocono, not quite as extreme in some of the aspects of the track layout. We saw the one stoppers barely, one of them barely getting across the line. The other two did not make it back around, just not enough fuel. So it's going to come down again with a cleverly laid out 55 lap length, race length here tonight. It's going to be really close on fuel, and some people are going to gamble, and perhaps some people are not going to gamble. We'll have to see. We had mentioned we've been talking about Pocono a lot today. For anybody who's keeping up with Truck 200 news, there is a good chance that Pocono will be on the schedule for Season 1 after a sudden turn of events, thanks to the great folks at IndyCar. We'll just put it that way. So, Pocono, I think if you're going to be paying close attention here, may have some tricks up its sleeve for the drivers of Truck 200 in Season 1 as well. So be paying very close attention as we are getting ready to hit the grid for the 7th time in Season number 5 here for the Venom Truck Series. And the man that will lead him to the green has not been in action since he was victorious at Indianapolis with career win number 10. It is career pole number 7 here tonight, his first since Michigan earlier this season, for Jeff Langston. He leads the field to green. The driver third in the points coming into tonight, Jeremy McKinnon, is on the outside pole. Michael Dean, coming off of his best finish of the season last week at Bristol Dirt, he starts P3 here tonight. Looking for redemption big time, Nathan Reynolds starts P4, led the most laps at Dirt Bristol last week, and a DNF finish for him. TJ Bartle, the first driver to retire from last week's race at Bristol Dirt, he starts in 5th. Kyle Zittel, another early retiree from last week, he starts in 6th. Another early retiree from last week at Bristol. It's going to be a trend, don't worry. Steve Roman starts in 7th. He has Garrett Rainey to his outside. Podium finisher from last week, Ryan Dye, starts in 9th. Brantley Gainey Jr. was looking great late and picked up a phantom meatball at the end of the race. He starts in 10th. Paul Ellison, Corey Rutherford on row number 6. Will Salamone picked up a few points positions last week. He starts P13 with Andy Policky, the runner-up finisher from last week, in 14th. Jan Van Leer, Pascal Samar, both season best finishes for them last week at Bristol. They start on row number 8. Eric Breeding, Michael Krall, 17th and 18th. 19th for Dean Gear, who is back here tonight. Luke Peterson starts in 20th. Kyle Dumick. Adrian Brown is back for his second career start tonight as well. He starts in 22nd. Kevin Cochran has been on a roll of late. He will start deep in the field here tonight in 23rd, with John Russell, another second racer, here tonight in 24th. Ryan Borboom is back as well. He's in P25. Cole Maxwell to his outside. James Efaw is back after taking Bristol off. He starts in 27th. Austin Holyfield, Ethan Patterson, and Daniel Maury with some work to do tonight, starting 28th, 29th, and 30th. All right, partner, what do we got to look forward to here tonight? 55 laps of Pocono.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at our weather conditions here. Track temperature, not real warm, but not super cool either. We're sitting at 91 degrees here at the moment. And as always here in the Venom Truck Series, there are no fast repairs. There are lucky dogs and wave arounds, and the leader has the lane choice on the restarts. And as you alluded to earlier, the fuel mileage, we're looking at 25 to 30 laps, which is right between a two-stopper and a one-stopper here for our drivers. I would assume we'll see quite a few try to stretch it and just do that one stop, but we'll have to see.
A lot to keep track of here, but to help you out, they cut one corner off of the track. That's just one less for you to keep tabs on. Out of turn number 3 and down the 3,400-foot-long super straightaway, Jeff Langston and Jeremy McKinnon to the gas, and we are green at the tricky triangle. Michael Dean gets a good start there on the inside of the second row. Nathan Reynolds is backing it up. Great-looking truck there for Dean, sporting a new livery. As he looks to the inside of McKinnon for second, Jeff Langston holds on to the top spot through turn number 1.
There's single file for about 5 or 6 trucks, but a little bit of jockeying for position. Furthermore, and as I say that, we're going too wide for the first couple of rows now.
Paul Ellison just picked up 2 spots there through the tunnel turn, as Jeremy McKinnon has gotten through on Jeff Langston for the lead. Nathan Reynolds is now up to P3. And new leader, Jeremy McKinnon. He's already matched his lap lead total from his win here in Season 2. He only led 1 lap, and he only led it by 19 one-thousandths of a second. But it was the right one. Oh, problems further back. As
that
I
was
believe
Bartle
that was
that
Ryan.
got sideways.
Yes, it was Bartle underneath of Steve Roman. I'm not sure if they made any contact, but Bartle definitely got the worst of it. He has lost at least 3 or 4 spots out of the exchange.
And he's still trying to look to get back in line here. Electing to kind of go with a shallow entry. He stays down there in the inside lane going into turn 3. And Rutherford's in the wall.
Oh, Corey Rutherford with problems. He's going to lose a handful of spots as well down this long straightaway. We're going to talk about momentum a lot. It's one thing to maybe miss your apex in the turn, but if you hit the wall, you're really going to be hurting down the long straightaway. As Michael Dean thought about having to go to the inside of Nathan Reynolds. They've got Kyle Zittel behind him. He may not recognize Zittel's truck. That is a great-looking truck here. Dean and Zittel both rolling out new liveries, as is, I believe, Jeremy McKinnon, although we did get a look at that last night.
I got to tell you, as a broadcaster with a new series here, I got to give a little shout-out to Garrett Rainey, who has kept the same livery for all of our races. Very easy to figure out who that is every week. But we love seeing all the new ones, too. I mean, these guys, they don't mess around. They put together some good ones.
And the irony that we start talking about that right after Corey Rutherford hits the wall. He does a lot of the paint schemes for these trucks, and they all look great. I think he has finally sort of stopped the bleeding on that one. He is just inside of the top 20, going to work around the outside of, I believe, Adrian Brown.
Zittel is all over the back of Michael Dean right now. Pushed him all the way down that stretch right there.
And he's had a couple of looks on Dean. And, Rainey just flirted with the wall a bit there. Opens the door for Steve Roman to look underneath. That'll be for spot number 6, just behind Zittel here, who sort of stalled out on his charge to overtake Michael Dean. Roman a little bit loose off the bottom there, so it's going to be Rainey that's going to surge ahead across the line to hold on to that 6th position. Lap number 5, 51 to go here in Thunder Valley. It's the land of many nicknames.
And all of a sudden, we see Paul Ellison coming into this battle between Roman and Dye.
Ellison scooped up quite a few positions on the first lap and then has sort of held serve. But he has started to get back to it here.
Well, Roman struggled a little bit here. He's lost a couple of spots. Just lost a couple to Dye and Ellison there.
Yeah, he looked a bit squirrely out of turn number 3 last time. I tell you, another driver that looks a little bit squirrely is Jeremy McKinnon. He's dropped about a truck length to Jeff Langston. And Langston is closing quickly. Zittel might have it go. Michael Dean for the 4th spot here into turn number 1. They're just about bump drafting into the first turn. And Nathan Reynolds sort of in no man's land right now. Could easily go forward or fall backwards. It's just kind of depends on what his MO is at this point of the race.
And
here
Ellison.
goes Langston. Langston to the inside of McKinnon. He noses ahead into the lead. He's clearing McKinnon now outright.
I can't believe how much momentum he kept there, even with Reynolds behind McKinnon.
Dean opened the door for Zittel behind them. Zittel might have the run here down the front straightaway that he's been looking for the last couple of laps. But new leader, Jeff Langston.
And Jeff Langston is no stranger to that top spot here in the Venom Truck Series. He has been up front many times this year and does have a win on the season as well.
A win on the season. He took his provisional on the year last week at Bristol Dirt. But the week before that in Indianapolis, he became the first driver in Venom Truck Series history to get 10 wins. The driver in 3rd is Nathan Reynolds. He's got 9. That was one of the drivers he was competing with. The other was Andy Policky, who is outside of the top 10 right now. He started 14th. He is in 14th as they motor around Pocono here on lap number 7. It's an uncharacteristic performance thus far for Andy Policky.
Well, and there's some action. I see Jan van Leer is moving down the leaderboard very quickly. He is very slow on the front stretch right now.
I think he made contact with Brantley Gainey. Gainey came over the radio and apologized. And Gainey's lost quite a few spots as well as Jan van Leer. I'll go back and take a look at that while I've got an opportunity.
I think Jan van Leer was close to being in the top 10, and he's dropped all the way down to 25th now.
He actually hit, I believe that was Paul Ellison. So Ellison dropped a ton of spots, made some pretty significant contact with the wall. So Jan van Leer was an innocent bystander in that. Gainey was underneath of Ellison. And Gainey drifted up the track, tagged Ellison, and came back down the track and tagged Jan. So that's, that's bad news for Paul Ellison, who is the points leader right now, has 2 consecutive 4th place finishes, 4 top 5s on the season. He's been ultra consistent and running a little bit further back than I think he would want to, and is going to pay for it here.
Oh, I mean, we talked on the top of the show how consistent he's been. That's what's gotten him to this point so far. And just really unfortunate. That's really going to, I think, kill his chances here tonight. He's all the way down in 27th place.
No fast repairs. We'll just have to see how much damage he can repair and not lose a ton of time out on the track when he comes down to make his pit stop probably sometime in within the next 20 laps, more than likely.
And at the top of the field, things have stayed somewhat stagnant here. Although McKinnon is now working the top side, trying to gain that momentum we've been talking about. You carry it down these big, long straightaways, and you can make some passes. As we see, he's working on it here. He goes to the inside of Langston in turn 2.
He clears him, not by much, though. Wow, and here comes Nathan Reynolds as well. That brings the two-time champ right back into the fold. So many different micro lines around this ginormous, wide track. McKinnon back out front. Reynolds is close. Dean and Zittel are still slugging it out for the third spot, or for the fourth spot, rather.
We see McKinnon go to that top side again. He likes what it did for him last time. We'll see what kind of a run he gets this time. A pretty big one. He's got a truck length on Langston right now.
Reynolds had a pretty big run. Then he gets into the wake of Jeff Langston and the run stops. But all this jockeying in different lines has allowed Dean and Zittel to close right up. We're about to have a 5-car bout for the top spot. Here comes Reynolds to the inside of Langston.
Oh, boy, and turn 3 is tough on that exit right there.
Yes, it is.
It is very easy to get really tight coming out of turn 3 and slap the wall. And especially when you're battling somebody like that, it can be really, really tricky. No pun intended.
Pun very much intended, don't lie. Jan Van Leer is on the radio talking to the drivers still that were involved in that little skirmish. Him and Paul Ellison have dropped back into the final 2 running positions, 29th and 30th. They have a ton of damage on that truck, both of them. As Langston again on defense, trying to guard against Nathan Reynolds. He had him pinched with about a couple of inches to spare on either side. Reynolds is going to have the run down the straightaway here. He goes right to the inside. He's going to get a little bit of a pull from McKinnon.
And what Reynolds and McKinnon are doing that Langston hasn't been up to this point, they're using the top side to gain that momentum down the straightaways. You saw Langston, as you said, was playing defense. He was on that bottom lane, and you can't get a run from that bottom lane like you can when you run the top side. And you see that Reynolds was able to make it work with a little bit of help from McKinnon as well.
Not a whole lot of battling going on through the field. Bartle and Salamoni, I believe, are battling just inside of the top 10. There's a pretty big gaggle of cars just outside of the top 20 that are still swapping spots left and right. But most of the action is right here up front.
Yeah, there's just a little battle going in here inside of the top 10 between Policky and Bartle. Roman's a part of this. Ryan Dye's a part of this as well. I think Salamoni is in this as well. We're actually 3 wide right now, and they thought better of it.
Yeah.
Bartle decided to pull out of that one as Polisky's looking to the inside of Dye. Whoa, that was close.
And these trucks right here are the closest outside of the lead 5. And they are about 4.5 seconds behind this lead pack. That margin is growing. But it's McKinnon, Reynolds, Langston, Dean, and Zittel, your top 5. They're all within 1 second of one another. They actually make it a little bit more than a second and a half for Kyle Zittel, who was faded away just a little bit here on this last time around. But Nathan Reynolds moving from the top to the bottom, trying to see if he can get any sort of run on the race leader, Jeremy McKinnon. If I had to put a bet down, I would say that these are the two drivers that have led the most laps this season. That's just a guess. They have been up front pretty much every race.
In turn 2, Poliski's looking to the inside of Dye again. He's able to get a little momentum this time. He's going to have a good line coming into 3. Oh, and Dye's going to have the momentum coming out of that turn, though. And Poliski's not really going to have a lot of drafting help. I take it back. Salamoni's going to kind of go to the inside with Policky here.
Big shot coming from Will Salamoni, maybe. Maybe just giving him a little bit.
Oh, and Policky drifts up and blinks also.
Oh, boy.
That's going to allow Will Salamoni to get to the inside of Policky now. Then he pulls back behind him.
Oh, Ryan Dye really pushed it wide there out of the turn. Policy's going to go through.
And Salamoni's going to pull up to the side of Ryan Dye now as well.
Nathan Reynolds up front is underneath of the race leader. He led that time by. They're still side by side for the race lead. Can Reynolds clear McKinnon? Yes, he can. So Nathan Reynolds leads lap 104 on the season. But McKinnon is not done
come
fighting
right back, though.
Through the tunnel turn. Anxious moments going side by side through turn number 2 at Pocono. It is a tough feat to pull off.
Behind them, Dean's looking to make a move on Langston as well.
Look at him roll the bottom. Langston may have the momentum off the top side.
And one of the big issues you have here, if you're trying to make that pass, if you don't get cleared, you have no drafting help, basically, unless you have somebody that deliberately pulls down and helps you. And that just kills you, as you see Dean is right back behind Langston again after looking like he had a good move there, but just didn't have any help.
Battles for first and for third. Kyle Zittel was just outside of a second back, and now he is closing in once again on these front 4. Dean underneath of Langston again. Langston not leaving him much room there to work on the bottom. Reynolds extending his lead right now over Jeremy McKinnon as they work into turn number 3, coming to lap number 19. It'll be 37 laps to go. We've seen 3 different leaders for, I believe, 5 lead changes. It's been a pretty contested race up front. Caution-free as of now. That may change.
We're going to be maybe 3 wide going into 1 here. This is Kral, Salamoni, and I believe Pascal Samard.
Yes.
And there's still 3 wide coming out of turn 1.
Oh my gosh. This is the battle for 10th place.
Nobody was giving an inch. Kral finally moves back.
Can't say that I blame him. Samard around the outside have a little bit more momentum than Salamoni. He's going to take the 10th spot. Samard has been on a roll. He had an awesome run last week at Bristol Dirt, just outside of the top 5. It's his best finish of the season. And he is capitalizing on it here with another top 10 run. Up front, Langston is looking underneath of McKinnon for second. Dean and Zittel lying in wait there behind this battle for the second spot. And McKinnon holds on to it for now. They're about half a second behind race leader Nathan Reynolds.
The field is starting to spread out pretty good here. This battle between Samard, Salamone, Michael Krall, and Adrian Brown is involved in this now as well. It's not really cooling down at all.
Had problems somewhere on the track for Ryan Borboom. I missed what happened, but he's in the pits now.
Well, Borboom was in the pits about 2 laps ago. I didn't notice any sort of
yeah, he
incident.
didn't have an incident. He just came into the pits, so that's different. But yeah, he is currently 3 laps down, just sitting in the pits, so maybe some things to take care of outside of the sim. As Zittel underneath of Dean for the 4th position. We are just outside of the fuel window here. Should open up. Well, it's a question of whether the fuel window to the end is going to open up or whether the fuel window to have to pit is going to open up. Which one of those is going to come first?
Langston's looking to the inside of McKinnon again, and he has good momentum. Whoa! They both kind of split each other in the middle there. I think McKinnon was maybe looking to do a little bit of a crossover, but Langston kind of bobbled getting up to the top side there.
Further back, Andy Policky is looking to the inside of Steve Vroman for the 6th position. And heading into turn number 3, he's going to take that with ease, although Vroman tries to cross him over, doesn't quite get it done.
And Poliski's one of our big movers so far tonight. He's up 8 spots all the way to 6th. A little bit farther back, Adrian Brown, who it's only his 2nd race, I think, in series history. He's moved up 10 spots. He's currently in 12th, but he's in a battle right now with that gaggle of trucks we were talking about a little bit earlier. But he's now past Michael Krall, and he's working on Salamone now as well. So really great run from him going right now.
I don't think Krall is done with him. We'll have to see. Ahead of them, Salamone and Samard are about to go to battle as well. Salamone takes a lunge there to the inside. Oh, Krall tried to sneak in there to the inside of Brown. Brown's going to have a run. He's going to take him 3 wide down the straightaway. Aggressive move here. Salamone gives a little check of the brakes there, lets Brown get out and away. Eric Breeding and Michael Krall almost made some contact. Now it's Samard and Salamone side by side for spot number 11.
Breeding and Peterson almost got into it out of 1 as well. Boy, there is a lot going on right here.
Up front, Michael Dean is now looking to the inside of Jeremy McKinnon for spot number 3. Dean has him cleared. So move Michael Dean up into the podium positions. Again. McKinnon sucks right up to the tailgate there and then pulls just to the inside. Going to work it to the outside now. All this while Nathan Reynolds has pulled out to nearly a 2nd advantage over Jeff Langston.
And we have to wonder about fuel strategy here as well.
Yes, this is the time. The pit window, the early pit window is open right here.
I would imagine with only really 3 laps to go until you're going to have a one-stop race, most of them, if they need to, are going to save as much fuel as possible here.
Langston's coming to pit road. So it should be a 2-stop race for Jeff Langston. Steve Vroman is coming down pit road as well. And as of now, I think those are the only two drivers who have peeled off. A couple more further back in the pack are coming down pit road. One of them is Brantley Gainey, who, remember, does have a little bit of damage. Garrett Rainey also coming down pit road, as is the 8 of Sean Russell, who is running back outside of the top 20.
Up here towards the front, McKinnon has gotten around Kyle Zittel again. McKinnon up to the 3rd spot now. And Zittel's fighting back. He's not done with him yet.
Here comes Paul Ellison, who, again, at the back of the pack with a lot of damage to fix on that truck. He was only a few laps away from going a lap down. As of now, Ellison's the only one to hit pit road this time around. Corey Rutherford is hung a left into pit road as well now, as is Ethan Patterson. Up front, Nathan Reynolds still on the track here on lap number 27, coming to halfway this time.
A little further back, the battle for 10th. Michael Kral's looking to make a pass on Samard. Isn't able to make it happen this time.
Here comes Reynolds to pit road. Kyle Zittel follows him in.
And you got to wonder if more are going to start coming here.
You would think the leader coming down pit road would drag a ton of other drivers.
Not a ton. Samard is going to come in, but most of that group of trucks is going to stay out here. And we are past the halfway mark, so this is where you're really just looking to split it in half.
Pascal Samard has a black flag, so does Kyle Dumick. Sean Russell just picked up a meatball. I think he crashed into the end of the pit road. I saw him wiggling coming down the pit straightaway. Oh, he got super loose out of turn number 3 and absolutely clanged into the wall. I'm losing track of my adjectives and adverbs.
Well, we talked about it. You got to be careful on those fresh tires, especially after a pit stop. And you saw it come up to bite him. Michael Dean is now coming to the pits, as well as Policky.
But the leader, Jeremy McKinnon, is still out onto the track on 29. Lap number 29, 27 to go, so it should comfortably be a one-stop race from here on out for Jeremy McKinnon. TJ Bartle is yet to pit, as is Ryan Dye. Adrian Brown is still on track as well. And Luke Peterson is yet to come down pit road, as has Dean Gear. Will Salamone is actually on pit road right now. I believe Kevin Cochran is yet to come down pit road. So those are some of the drivers that are rolling the dice here and trying to run their tank empty. Make sure they can make it on one stop.
Yeah, I think there's about, if I count correctly, maybe 6 drivers that haven't come down pit road yet. Here comes McKinnon and Bartle.
Jeremy McKinnon, black flag, too fast entering.
Oh, man, that is, what, the 3rd time that's happened to him now?
Yes, but this is the first time it's happened to him while he's had a great run going. He had an okay run going at Michigan and sped into the pits, got a black flag, and then did it again later in the race when he was already well out of contention. But this time, it's going to hurt a lot more for your defending Pocono winner from Season 2. Jeremy McKinnon is going to have an uphill battle to get back into victory lane here tonight. Service is complete for TJ Bartle, who came down pit road this time as well. And now this, I believe, is going to give the lead over to Ryan Dye, who is yet to get service. We'll see coming to lap number 31 if he's going to come down pit road this time. He is not.
I think Adrian Brown's there with him. I don't believe Brown's come down either.
No, he is not. Luke Peterson is not pit either. So they are the top 3 as they run that have yet to come down pit road. I believe Jeff Langston, of those who have their service, is your race leader, or will be your race leader when it cycles back out around. And he is running in I believe, the 6th position.
We saw him come in. We assumed it would be a 2-stop race, but Ryan Dye has stretched this thing out a long ways. I think Langston's going to be fine on this second run here.
He very well could be. And Langston, I believe, is one of the drivers that ran it out at Phoenix. So he's not afraid to at least give it a shot. It's the balance of, as I believe Ryan Dye is going to be coming down pit road this time. Yes, he is. It's the balance of whether you want to... Adrian Brown really cooked it in there. Whether you want to have fresh tires...
Peterson almost spun it out coming into the pits.
Brown cooked it in there, and that's why he got a black flag. Kevin Cochran also has a black flag. But do you want fresh tires early in the run and to make up a ton of time on the people who are waiting to pit, or do you want fresh tires at the end of the race to be able to make up as much ground as possible on some of the early gappers? And Ryan Dye wants to be on offense late, not defense.
I mean, I think as this race goes on, the field's maybe going to spread out even more. So maybe having more clear track when you're faster than the rest of your competitors really late in the race might be more beneficial. But if we have a caution come out, it's going to put you in kind of a rough spot. So there's pros and cons, certainly.
A lot of speeding penalties on that time around. Adrian Brown, Jeremy McKinnon, Kyle Dumig, Kevin Cochran. I know there were a couple more that I missed. But, yeah, several speeding penalties that time around. That's I think that's the most we've seen in one cycle. As Jeff Langston is now the race leader as Luke Peterson comes down pit road. He is nearly 3 seconds ahead of Nathan Reynolds. But Nathan Reynolds, again, on a little bit fresher tires than what Langston has right now. He is cutting into that gap. A couple of tenths a corner.
We have another battle brewing here. The same drivers that were in a battle before pit stops. Zittel just got through on Vroman, and Michael Dean is right there behind him as well. Vroman's looking to do a crossover coming into 2, though. He's actually going to clear Zittel, I think. No, maybe not. Ooh.
Tight quarters there through the tunnel turn.
Now, Dean, I thought was going to try to stuff it to the outside of Zittel there for a second. He had a huge run out of 3.
Last time around, wow! Vroman goes way wide there. Last time around, Reynolds was 2.5 tenths quicker than Jeff Langston, but still has to make up a little over 2.5 seconds as they work around lap number 34. It's 22 laps to go. And I believe this is Adrian Brown that just came up onto the scene. Remember, he had to come down and serve a penalty, so this is not for position for him. That doesn't mean he's not going to insert himself into the mix here.
Yeah, we've seen him make some aggressive moves already, and he is on newer tires as he had to come down into the pits again after that penalty. So he is going to have some speed on the rest of these drivers for at least a couple of laps here.
A little bit of over-rotation for Steve Vroman, who was underneath of Adrian. It's going to cost him a little time as here goes Michael Dean to the inside of Kyle Zittel.
And these two aren't familiar with each other at all.
No. Only the entire race, nose to tail. That's all. Maybe less familiar with Adrian Brown, though, as he is going to work on the inside of Kyle Zittel. Brown is not in the free pass position. Right now, that belongs to Pascal Simard, who just got overtaken for the lead, or by the leader. Has now been overtaken by Nathan Reynolds as well. So Brown trying to track down Simard. He's got about 4.5 seconds to do just that. The gap between Langston and Reynolds for the race lead is yo-yoing back and forth. It's been as high as 2.9 seconds. It's been as low as it is right now, which is about 2.2. What is the draft range on a non-super speedway, do you think?
I mean, at a track like this, I would think it's got to still be around a second. I mean, at a super speedway in the trucks, the draft range is almost like maybe 1.7, 1.8 seconds. It's a long ways. So I would imagine it's still pretty lengthy here.
Hey, we got Jacob Nagy in the chat. Shout out to Nagy.
Nagel, good to see you, partner.
Brantley Gainey calls out over the radio that he's staying high for the race leader. Langston dives underneath of him. That'll put Gainey a second lap down. Unfortunately, it's not been a great night for Mr. Brantley Gainey Jr. Langston holding firm at about 2.5 seconds over Reynolds.
Somebody who we really haven't mentioned at all here tonight is currently running in 14th. It's Daniel Morey, but he has moved up 16 positions from where he started. Basically started all the way in the back of the field, maybe the last truck, I don't remember exactly.
Yes.
But he's made his way up all the way to 14th now. And I think he did start last, as there are 30 starters here tonight. So great run, and actually he's gotten around Maxwell now as well. So up 17 spots. Great run from him.
And that's funny that he is just outside of his best position that he's finished this season. He's got 2 13th place finishes and is only 1 spot away from duplicating that, even for possibly a second week in a row, as he did it at Bristol Dirt last week. So great run for Daniel Morey. We had a little Daniel Morey fan contingent in the chat last race at Bristol Dirt. So if we've got any Daniel Morey fans or any fans of anybody here for the Venom Truck Series, drop who you're cheering for here tonight in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from anybody that isn't Jacob Nagy, but if you are Jacob Nagy, we want to hear from you again. Inside of 20 to go, it's 17 more trips around for Jeff Langston. But the gap is shrinking. Just over 2 seconds now. As they work down the second straightaway here, Reynolds is within 2 seconds. So I don't think we're too far out of slipstream range.
No, Reynolds is getting
Caution!
a good...
Trouble! I believe it's Ethan Patterson has gone around. And we are under our first caution of the night. And boy, does this change things.
Yeah, no kidding. I was just about to mention that Reynolds was catching Langston at a pretty good pace. He had a little help there from a draft partner, but he had the lead down to a 1.7 second gap. But this is going to change things. Everybody's going to come in for fresh tires, and it's on from here.
Wow. Close call for Jan Van Leer, as it was a solo truck incident for Ethan Patterson, but he did come back up in front of traffic, so the caution was necessary. And you're not going to find many closer calls than what Jan had there.
Well, we're going to take a look at it. Ethan Patterson coming out of 2 here. Wow, he really stuffs it in there at a quick pace. He drifts all the way up to the top of the track. He's going to make contact with the wall here. And once he does that, he's just going to be loose, trying to corral this truck, but also still trying to stay in the gas. And you can see him fighting that thing. He's going to hit the wall a second time here. And he's going to come all the way across the track, hit the inside wall, and this is where you're going to see Jan Van Leer come into the picture, as Patterson's going to go up into the racing surface again. And I'm sure Jan was gritting his teeth there on that one.
Yeah, it's been a grit your teeth kind of night for Jan Van Leer. And it got a little bit crazier there. As we're about to have some action on pit road. Not a whole lot of lead lap stayers here, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I think our first lead lap stayer is Daniel Morey.
I mean,
Actually,
I think he
Garrett
might be the only one.
Is Garrett Rainey on the lead lap? Garrett Rainey is not on the lead lap. So yeah, Daniel Morey. Daniel Morey? How about Daniel Morey? Is the only driver that stays out that is on the lead lap. So he's going to be the race leader. And wow, Michael Dean just beat Jeff Langston off of pit road.
Yeah, we had a great view of it here, and Langston was really smoked the tires trying to get out of his pit stall. I think he might have slowed himself down doing that.
Well, they talk about the first pit stall at different tracks being either a really good advantage or a really big disadvantage, depending on, because normally the first pit stall at the track is usually made out of a different material than what the rest of the track is paved out of. So that could be what happened to Jeff Langston, or he could have just stepped on the gas a little bit too hard. You never really know. But Michael Dean, depending on if Morey is just staying out to lead a lap here, which I believe would be his first lap led in Venom Truck Series competition, depending on what Morey does after this, Dean is either going to line up first or second.
And I think Ellison is also going to get a lap back here as well.
Well, no, he's not, because he is 3 laps down and he's behind Morey. So he's not going to get a wave around here.
Oh, that's you know what? I forgot about Morey staying out here. Good call.
But all the drivers ahead of Daniel Morey, as Kevin Cochran and Paul Ellison come down pit road, as they're not going to get a wave around, but the drivers in front of Daniel Morey are, and that will be, if I can get to him, Garrett Rainey, Kyle Dumig, Adrian Brown, Brantley Gainey Jr., and Jan Van Leer, I believe, got the free pass. Either that or he is just coming up to the tail end of the field after his pit service, one of the two. But Jan is still 1 lap down. Kevin Cochran will be 1 lap down as well. Brantley Gainey is going from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. And Paul Ellison is trapped 3 laps down. He will be able to pass Ethan Patterson here. I believe Pascal Simard got the free pass. And Jeremy McKinnon is now back on the lead lap as well, so that's good news for him. So all in all, I believe this is going to put 23 trucks on the lead lap here with 14 laps to go. Daniel Morey is in control of the restart here. And he has led 2 laps this season. So this is lap led number 3 on the year, coming to lap number 4. But he has not quite been in a position like this.
Yeah, especially on... I mean, his tires are pretty old, especially compared to everybody else's. He's a sitting duck, and this is going to be a pretty scary situation for everybody trying to pass him, I think. It's going to get bunched up quick.
Or it could be a legendary performance for Morey. We'll have to see. I'm probably leaning more your direction, though, unfortunately. 13 laps to go. Morey in control. Michael Dean is going to start on the outside of the front row here with a great opportunity. Green flag is out. Morey gets a great restart. Dean is a little bit slow. Langston and Dean are going to be side by side for second.
And you can see Langston chomping at the bit right now to get around Morey. He's not going to waste any time. Morey goes up in front of Dean.
Big block! Morey holding on for everything that he can. Here goes Dean to the inside, and I think Cinderella story is over as well. 4 wide there. Reynolds and Roman and I believe Policky trying to all get around Daniel Morey, who is already outside of the top 10. Side by side with James Efall, who I think is in the 14th position.
Woo-hoo!
New leader is Michael Dean, but for how much longer? Here comes Langston to the inside.
Langston looking to the inside, and he didn't have a lot of draft help there, but he's actually pushed up. I can't believe how good of a run he had there. He's going to clear Michael Dean easily here.
Here comes Reynolds to the inside of Dean. I'm wondering if Michael Dean took 2 tires on that last pit stop, and that's how he got that position. He does seem to be a little bit slower here. Maybe just needs some momentum. You'll have to go to the top side here with Reynolds just with a nose underneath. Wow, they nearly make contact. Here comes Zittel slipping to the outside of Nathan Reynolds now for third. Policky's now up into the mix as well. Reynolds and Zittel side by side.
Boy, and all this battling is just allowing Jeff Langston to pull out.
11 to go. Zittel underneath of Dean. These two have been battling this whole race, but finally Zittel may have the definitive upper hand. He goes through to second. Reynolds underneath of Dean now.
Zittel finally gets it done after trying to hound Michael Dean all race long, it seems like.
He did not get a great exit there out of turn number 1. A bump from Dean.
Oh, and Roman's pushing Policky up into this thing now, too.
3 wide further back in the pack. McKinnon sends Maxwell and Rutherford into the caution is out. Words exchanged over the radio. McKinnon and Maxwell making contact into the tunnel turn, and that sends Rutherford and Maxwell up into the wall.
I'm going to try to go find our replay here. And they were 3 wide coming into turn 2, and turn 2 is not an easy place to go 3 wide in. We're going to try to take maybe a little bit of a better look. We're going to go to a chase cam here. This is McKinnon on the inside, Maxwell in the middle, and Rutherford, who ends up getting put into the wall. He's going to be on the outside here in the 50. McKinnon's way down on that yellow line. And Maxwell never really moves up the track trying to give Rutherford room, and McKinnon coming out of turn 2. They just make contact, and that's going to shove Maxwell up into Rutherford. You can see Rutherford's going to make contact with the wall here. Does a good job of keeping it out of the rest of the racing line as people are trying to come through there, though. But aggressive moves being made, and rightfully so. I mean, we're right here at the end of this thing.
We have some drivers looking towards pit road, and some stairs, some goers. Langston fakes. Zittel, Reynolds onto pit road. Inside of 10 laps to go. Langston, Policky, Vroman, Salamone, and I believe TJ Bartle are the first 5 stayers. Eric Breeding is out on the track as well in 6th. Ryan Dye in 7th. Michael Krall in 8th. Dean Gear in 9th. And then James Efall will be in the 10th position. Jan Van Leer is the lucky dog driver. But he took his lap back before the sim asked him to. So he's got a black flag right now. He's trying to hash that out with race control, whether that's going to get cleared or not. But, wow. Split strategies. Zittel beats Reynolds off of pit road. And the black flag for Jan Van Leer is cleared. Actually, I think Reynolds beat Zittel off of pit road. Am I mistaken there? He and Michael Dean just drove past Kyle Zittel.
Not sure what happened. Zittel is really slow on the
Yeah, he
stretch
doesn't.
between 1 and 2 right now.
He doesn't have a penalty that I'm seeing, but he is letting everybody pass. So I'm wondering. We had this with Bruno Miranda at Gateway, if you remember that in the RL Daredevil series, where it wasn't showing us a black flag, but he told us after the race that he had a drop to the end penalty. So I wonder if he picked up some sort of infraction. And that's absolutely the most poorly timed black flag in history, if that is the case.
Can't imagine what that penalty would be, though. It's not
No,
like
I have no idea.
went into the pits like in the wrong time. Everybody else came with him. I don't understand.
Not sure.
Like usually this would be a penalty if he entered pit road when it was closed or something like that. For speeding, it would be a time penalty or something.
He was one of the last drivers to make a big swoop. He tried for a late fake, so maybe he didn't clear the cone in time. That would be the only thing that I could think of. But I would think that the sim would show that there was a penalty there. I'm not sure.
Quite interesting, but he's going to be very far back in the field, all the way back to 20th now. And after running in either second or third, that's certainly not where you want to end up after a pit stop.
Yeah, that was the best run that he had this season outside of when he was running up front at Daytona and got wrecked out. So it may end up being a disappointing night for Kyle Zittel. We're going to have 7 laps to sort it all out, though, as Jeff Langston, Andy Policky, Steve Roman, Will Salamone, TJ Bartle, Eric Breeding, Ryan Dye, Michael Krall, Dean Gear, and James Efall, as well as Jeremy McKinnon and Austin Holyfield. Those are the top 12 drivers. They have all stayed out. Nathan Reynolds and Michael Dean have used their final set of tires. They are going to have to start from row number 7 with 7 laps to go.
The only way I see this really working out for them well is if maybe there's another caution. I mean, there's a lot of traffic to get through right now with only 7 laps to go when we take the green flag. And it's not like everybody has a lot of wear on their tires.
Behind Reynolds and Dean, Samard, Brown, Rainey, Maury, Dumig, and now Kyle Zittel round out your top 20. Jan Van Leer, Luke Peterson, Corey Rutherford, and Cole Maxwell are the only other drivers on the lead lap as the pace truck hangs a left onto pit road. Jeff Langston to the gas, back to the green flag. Remember, Jeff Langston won on old tires at Indianapolis. And he's got a lot bigger buffer this time. Yeah, the end of that race.
That race was pretty wild, though. He got lucky on that one, but he did a great job there at the end. I thought he was in really big trouble on old tires.
Oh, trouble!
Oh, they're going around! That's Brown spinning.
Adrian Brown, I believe, got hooked from whoever was underneath of him. Just jockeying for position there on a turn number 1. And the caution comes out. It was Michael Dean. Oh, wow. And I'm pretty sure he hit Kyle Zittel on his way back across the track. Wow. What's the saying? We've said it so many times this season.
Cautions breed cautions, my friend.
Absolutely.
That's not what we want. Here we go. Try to get a little bit of a better look at this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was him getting hooked as much as he came down the track, and Michael Dean, who again is on fresh tires, was already underneath of him.
Yeah, so Dean's in the middle here of 3 wide between Samard and I think that's Holyfield. And you're right, Dean jumps to the bottom, and Brown was actually trying to throw a block, I think, but just wasn't clear. And Brown does come back into Zittel, but it didn't knock Zittel at all. So
yeah, I don't think it registered.
Sort of a net code deal there.
Yeah, which I know Zittel is going to be thankful for. But yeah, it looked like he bounced off of Zittel, but Zittel I didn't see take any damage. So This should give the free pass, I believe, to Kevin Cochran, who is in jeopardy of losing his top 10 streak that he's got going right now. Kevin Cochran is slowly plugging away here, having a pretty solid season, but tonight has not been very representative of that. So he'll have an opportunity to pick up a couple of more spots here, as I'm sure Adrian Brown is probably toast. Yeah, he has a meatball flag, so he's going to be done for the night. He will join Sean Russell, Ryan Borboom, and Ethan Patterson as the retirees of this race. Looking to see if anybody's coming down pit road this time. A couple of fakers up front, but I would imagine everybody's bet is made at this point.
And Langston, I think, is going to benefit from another set of late race cautions here.
Yes. Absolutely.
As by my estimation, I think we're going to go green with 3 laps to go. And that's not a lot of time for the guys behind him to gain momentum and really try to get around him here. But I tell you what, Vroman and Policky have worked together on a couple of occasions, it seems.
Yes.
If anybody's going to do it, it might be the two of them to put a run together here to get through on Langston.
And leave it to Policky 2 weeks in a row, or 2 races in a row, rather, to have a really quiet night and then all of a sudden be in contention for a podium or a win. I mean, he was as quiet as a church mouse at Dirt Bristol, and came away with a runner-up finish, I believe, and is looking to do the same here tonight. I mean, he started deep in the field. We commented about where is Andy Policky, and then all of a sudden he was running just outside of the top 5, and now he's here. He's in P2.
Speaking of where is somebody, we're also missing our winner from Bristol Dirt, Flinky
Yes.
Roberts. Not sure exactly where he's at. Last I heard, he might be at the newly constructed Knoxville, Tennessee Speedway.
Yes.
But we're certainly missing our race winner from Bristol Dirt tonight, so hope everything's going well and looking forward to having Flinky back here at some point this season.
Yeah, that what a jubilant moment for that young man, Greg Roberts, to come away with his first win at Dirt Bristol. And it's not like he wasn't racing with Nathan Reynolds for the race lead late in the going before Reynolds had his problems. So it wasn't like a fluke victory. It was well-deserved for him finally, after knocking on the door a couple of times, to get his first win. That was pretty cool. I know he was super pumped up about it. So I think he'll take his provisional here tonight, and if he hasn't already, and hopefully we'll see him back at Nashville Fairgrounds next week.
Boy, that's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah. The Corn Dogs and Carnival Rides 200 at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway next Tuesday. Same time, same place.
And I tell you what, I've had a couple of corn dogs and carnival rides at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
You think so?
I have, not only at the racetrack, but at the State Fair when it used to be held there. So looking forward to getting back to the Nashville Fairgrounds virtually next week.
It's a home race for your boy Matt Williamson. Wow, Policky, not sure what he was doing there, but maybe a little bit of mind games. He certainly got me hooked. All right, race fans, 3 laps to go. Place your bets in the chat. Who is going to walk away with the hardware here tonight at the Tricky Triangle? Jeff Langston, Andy Policky on row 1, Steve Roman, Will Salamone looking for another podium here tonight. He will start on the outside of row number 2. TJ Bartle, another top 5 run for him late in the going. Eric Breeding with a great run here tonight. He's in P6. Ryan Dye, Michael Krall, 7th and 8th. James Efall in the top 10. Jeremy McKinnon looking for a bounce back. Pace truck hangs the left. We are green. Great start for Langston.
And Policky gets a little bit of a better jump there as well. Vroman's going to pull in behind him. We talked about Vroman and Policky working together here. They're going to stay on the top together.
Salmoni jumps to the bottom, trying to clear Vroman, doesn't quite get clear. They'll be side by side for third. Not sure how much Vroman is going to be able to send help to Policky. He may not need it, though. He's closed it within a truck length. Through the tunnel turn. Wow, Langston. Huge advantage there. Policky did not get a great entry.
Policky got, I think, a little loose. I think he just cooked it in there a little too far and then got loose coming out on the exit.
Coming to 2 laps to go. Further back in the pack, Nathan Reynolds is side by side with Michael Kroll just outside of the top 5. Salamoni and Bartle are side by side.
Contact with Salamoni.
Close call there. They keep it pointed in the right direction. Bartle comes over the radio and apologizes.
I thought for sure Salamoni was going to get turned there. I don't know how they saved it together.
Langston ahead by over half a second over Policky. Oh, Reynolds is sideways. Does he save it?
Unbelievable.
Wow, what a save. He's going to lose 4, 5, 6 spots.
They're going to be 4 wide now, though. My goodness.
Damn, what a save. That's too bad. Langston.
Oh, contact between Breeding. Oh, they're going around.
White flag. Oh, caution is out before. Caution came out before he crossed the stripe. We're going to overtime.
Oh, my goodness. So that's going to take a few of them out.
It was almost a tie between the caution coming out and Langston hitting the stripe. But the plunger came out before, and we are going to do 2 more.
Boy, you could see that one coming from a mile away. It all started when Reynolds had to make a huge save and absolutely stacked the field up.
It was a really impressive save. And some drivers voicing their displeasure over the radio. And, you know, can't really say that I blame them. That was a wild one.
Yeah, I think Samard, one of the ones that got the worst of it, he is blown up.
Samard, Eatfall, Breeding, Rutherford, McKinnon. Oh, Michael Dean nearly upside down. Damn, that's a tough deal. That was a huge crash. Also some confusion over the radio from Jeff Langston and Will Salamoni, who are both thinking that this race is over.
Well, I'll tell you what, on my little sheet here that tells me the order of events, what happened, the white flag did come out about 1 second before the yellow. So I would be a little confused as well.
Now, the white flag will display before you get to the line. This has come up a couple of times. The white flag will display before you get to the line. Usually when the leader comes within a certain checkpoint. So the white flag being displayed doesn't prevent the caution from coming out. It was just, I mean, if we were a big budget production, we could probably find a way to show you when the caution came out in comparison to Langston. While you were watching the crash, I was watching Langston to see if he was going to cross the line. And I mean, it was a photo finish. Langston was a couple of feet maybe away from the line when the caution came out.
All right, well, we're going to take a look at this replay here, and this is where Reynolds has to make this save. He just makes a little bit of contact with Breeding, and Breeding is pretty much all the way down on the yellow line. Reynolds was just really trying to cut it close. And Reynolds is looking to make a huge save here, and he does, but he's going to lose a ton of momentum, and everybody's going to just come right onto his tail and then try to get around him altogether, and it is utter chaos after this. You can see Kroll never really gave up any speed. Kroll's going to get through there really quickly. Breeding McKinnon all the way on the inside of this as well. but this is also where issues are going to start to rise. We're 3 wide. This is McKinnon, Breeding, and Michael Dean on the outside here. And I think it was either McKinnon or Crawl and Breeding that got together first. Breeding's just trying to kind of save it on the top side. He's going to get together with a couple more. The 25 of EFAL is going to get turned around right in front of the field here. Zittle's getting hard into him. Michael Dean and McKinnon are going to get together. That's going to take... No, Reynolds barely missed it. But, this is a view you get of the chaos that happened behind it.
Wow. Talk about a lot of good drivers that were taken out by that one. As we are doubling up here for green-white checkered attempt number 1. Pascal Samard was having a good run here tonight. He has got the meatball. Kyle Zittel has the meatball. I don't think Michael Dean has a meatball. He's still out on track, but he just came over the radio as I was talking about him and said that he has got a little bit of damage.
He's starting right in the middle of the pack, too.
Yes, and I think he's talking about yielding to the trucks that are right behind him. Garrett Rainey also has a meatball. The only driver with good news out of this melee, I believe, is going to be Brantley Gainey, who is now back on the lead lap. He makes 21 trucks that will be working around the track here for green-white checkered attempt number 1 of 3. Jeff Langston, literally inches away from victory already, has got 2 more laps to try and secure himself career victory number 11, his second victory on the season. Policky, Vroman, and now Bartle are the 3 drivers flanking him. Another good restart for Langston. Policky with a pretty good jump as well.
And that's about exactly what happened on the last restart. Policky gets a good jump. Vroman comes in right behind him. Vroman's going to stay on the bottom this time, though. He's not going to the top with Policky.
Ryan Dye had to check up to not make contact with, I believe it was TJ Bartle. He now runs in 5th with Michael Crawl approaching him, but up front, Policky has just a little bit of a look to the outside of Jeff Langston there.
Policky's carrying a lot of momentum right now, maybe just trying to gain a little more throughout these last few turns as we're coming to take the white flag.
Langston looks awfully comfortable out front. But is Policky lying and waiting for a big run here? He's got Vroman right behind him. Closes it to less than half of a truck length. Now Policky goes to the top, Langston to the bottom.
Bartle looking to the bottom of Vroman as well. That might pull Vroman back from Policky a little bit.
Should be a 2-dog race up front now. 0.2 of a second for Policky to overcome. One more turn for Jeff Langston.
And Reynolds is in the wall behind him.
Policky does not have the run. Jeff Langston out of turn number 3. He is going to lay claim to Pocono. Jeff Langston to the line. He wins it. Back-to-back wins in not back-to-back races. Langston missed the last race at Bristol Dirt, but before that, he won at Indianapolis. He wins here tonight in his first race back at Pocono. It is career victory number 11, and I believe he is now the first driver to win from pole this season.
Wow, and just like his first one of the season at Indianapolis, the end of this one was another wild couple of cautions, and Jeff Langston benefits from it, and he's going to get to celebrate here in front of the fans at Thunder Valley.
Now, hopefully his burnout is a little longer than it was at Indianapolis, because we didn't get much of a show there in Indy.
Well, it's a little difficult to celebrate at Indianapolis, as he's just gonna sit here. I think he's getting out of the truck to go maybe climb the fence. I'm not sure.
I think you're right. I think he's going to be the first driver to try and scale the scoring pylon after the race. I think that's what he's setting up to do.
And here we go. We're going to get a little celebration between Roman Langston and Policky, and guess what? They've done it again.
Yes, they have.
They've taken the top 3 spots as a team, just like they did at Indy.
Incredible work for them tonight. Good old broke guy racing. TJ Bartle gave Steve Roman all he can handle there on the final lap. He comes up just shy of nabbing his first career podium, but it's his second top 5 finish of the season for TJ Bartle, who is doing a pretty good job of showing up late in these races and making some noise. Ryan Dye rounds out your top 5. As the celebration, I believe, is over, we're going to see these drivers start to make their way into the waiting room. But before we do, let's go ahead and give you the full field rundown here. After a wild finish here in Pocono, I'm sure everybody lost track of where the rest of the drivers were. So we'll go ahead and set the record straight for you here. Of course, it's Langston, Policky, Roman, Bartle, and Ryan Dye, your top 5 here tonight. Michael Krall, a 6th place finish for him here tonight. That snaps a streak of bad luck for him. That is his best finish on the season as well. So good to see Michael Krall back up inside of the top 10 here tonight. Will Salamone, a 7th place finish for him here tonight. Eric Breeding, 8th place finish for him, is one of his best finishes of the season. I believe it's his 3rd top 10 of the season. Nathan Reynolds with some problems there on the last lap. He finishes P9. And Dean Gear in his 2nd career race here tonight. A much better outing for him than it was at Bristol Dirt a few weeks ago. He finishes in the 10th position. Corey Rutherford, who I believe he made some pretty significant contact in one of the cautions earlier. He finishes P11 here tonight, so a good recovery for him. Daniel Morey, another good run. He finishes in 12th. Austin Holyfield in 13th. Kevin Cochran, a good recovery. He was a couple laps down at one point, so he's 14th. Kyle Dumig in P15. Jan Van Leer was an uphill battle for him most of the night. He goes 16th. Cole Maxwell in 17th. Brantley Gainey Jr. In 18th. Luke Peterson 19th. Jeremy McKinnon was all over the place here tonight. He finishes in P20. Michael Dean, the last truck on the lead lap, in 21st after taking a ton of damage there in that final crash. Paul Ellison, I believe, finishes the race, but he is 3 laps down in 22nd. And then everybody else behind him is a DNF. That is Garrett Rainey, Pascal Simard, Kyle Zittel. They round out the top 25. James Efall, who was running in the top 10 when he got knocked out, finishes 26th. Adrian Brown with a tough night in 27th. Ethan Patterson, Sean Russell, and Ryan Borboom are your final finishers in our 30 truck field here tonight at the Tricky Triangle. And let's go ahead and pull up our 3rd place finisher here. And that is Mr. Steve Roman, who you stayed ahead of all the chaos once again here tonight. And you find yourself on the podium once again. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Lady Luck was on our side there a little bit, staying ahead of everything there. And pit strategy helped out, too, and we got a good 1-2-3 finish for the team.
Now, you're usually on the right side of strategy, and you come out ahead of it here tonight. What's when you're going late in the running, what are some of the pros and cons of staying out and not coming in to take some fresh rubber?
Well, as long as you got enough guys behind you that wind up pitting to separate you from the guys with the fresh rubber there, it usually works out, and kind of try to stay out of the chaos there. So get a good jump on the start and hopefully hold them off.
Matt, what do you got for Steve?
Steve, you and Policky were working together pretty much all night long there at the end. Did you think you had something for Jeff, or were you kind of content with sitting where you guys were?
I don't think I had anything for Jeff. Jeff had a strong truck all night, so I just wanted to kind of stay in line and make sure that I didn't lose any spots there trying to gain anything there at the end, because I knew I had a decent enough truck to stay where I was at.
Well, it's another team sweep for you here tonight. Who do you want to thank from the third place spot on the finishing order?
I'd definitely like to thank the rest of the teammates there at Broke Guy Racing, and of course our sponsors at None of Your Beeswax Apiary for all the great honey we got here in Tennessee.
Well, there you go. I know we'll be talking to you down the road here. How do you feel about Nashville Fairgrounds?
Feeling pretty good about Nashville. It's a good little track for us. So hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, sounds like a plan. That is your third place finisher, Steve Roman. As always, thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll go ahead and pull up runner-up finisher once again here tonight. That is Andy Policky. Still looking for that first win on the season, but it was a great performance for you here tonight. So congrats on the P2.
Yeah. Thanks again. It's a hard-fought P2. Did not do a very, very good job of qualifying, and felt just a little off the pace tonight. But good strategy and some good luck got me up there.
Absolutely. That's we were talking about earlier in the race. We were surprised to see as far back as you were. What does when you don't get the qualifying run that you're looking for? What is sort of the strategy that you look for? Are you trying to save your stuff, or are you trying to get out of the hornet's nest as soon as possible?
It's a little combination of the both. You want to try to get clear of the hornet's nest a little bit, and then try to save as much as you can. I know early on, on that first long run, I was starting to pick up time right before pit stop. So I think I did a good job of doing both, staying out of the mess, and then like I said, saving enough stuff where I was good on the long run.
Matt, what do you got?
There were a lot of parallels for this race as there were to Indianapolis, but also you all started in very kind of different positions. You especially, as you've mentioned. How did it come together that, man, you guys at Broke Guy Racing just seem to get it done week in and week out?
We've had a lot of luck go our way. We've got a good group of drivers, so it's. We kind of were talking back and forth on that one, I think, third caution where a lot of people pitted. We were kind of on the fence, but I decided our best bet was to stay up front. So yeah, great finish for the team. 1, 2, 3 finish. So gonna be really good in our points and move on to the next one.
Well, there you go. Who do you want to thank here tonight?
I don't thank my team. Like I said, great 1, 2, 3 finish. Jeremy was up front for a while as well. He had run into some bad luck. So strong showing for my teammates. Just thank my sponsors, Nissan Wichita Falls. Had them on a truck today. Our express lane or express service, one of the best in our town, Wichita Falls. So if you need anything, definitely come see us.
There you go. Your team came in with the team lead tonight by 6 points, and some late problems there for some of the guys at RNS. So Broke Guy's looking pretty good here, and you're definitely playing a big part in that. Another P2 finish for you here tonight. Congrats, and go party hard with the team.
Thanks, Tommy.
All righty. It's race winner time for the second time this season, and a second time in a row for you. Jeff Langston is your race winner. Big congratulations for you. Are you worried that the league is not going to give you any extra sets of tires here now that you've won it on old rubber 2 times in a row?
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know. They may try to keep me to 1 set of tires or something like that from now on.
So what is is it a question of how many people are coming in, or is it just you're going to stay out every time?
Well, this one goes back to the first caution that came out after the long green flag run. I was telling my teammates, I believe if it would have stayed green, Nathan would have caught me. He was catching me about a 10th a lap because he pitted a lap or 2 later than me. But then once I got those tires, and we only ran, I don't know, you guys probably know, maybe what was it, 5 to 8 laps. I was still clicking off good lap times, and I pretty much knew when the caution came out I was staying out.
And then talk about you said it over the radio. I heard the confusion and the frustration about being so close to the line and thinking that the white flag was out already.
Yeah, that was interesting. Honestly, I was just running the race and obviously had no idea the caution was going to come out. So I felt like I had crossed the line. Again, you guys probably know I haven't even gone back and looked, but it all worked out how it should have, I guess, in the end. I wouldn't say I was frustrated. I was just kind of questioning, did the game have a little glitch in it there or something?
Well, I think on the broadcast, Matt was watching the the massive pileup that was happening, but I was still watching you, and I think, if you were a foot shy, it might have even been less. It was not much though, and so it was definitely close. But it wasn't by much. I totally get that. Matt, what do you got for Jeff here?
Well, this win that you have is a lot like the one in Indianapolis. You got to be feeling good about staying out and having a lot of late race cautions as we have it.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Sometimes they just fall in your lap with the cautions the way you need them, and staying out, and you never know how many people's going to stay out, especially in the lead. You're in the worst spot you can be in, because if you pit, everybody's going to stay out, and vice versa. So it just worked out. Got lucky. So, but happy for a 1-2-3 finish for my teammates there as well.
All the other teammates have mentioned the team and thanked the team here tonight. I'm sure you want to thank your teammates as well, but anybody else that you want to thank?
No, pretty much them. Again, I think I said it 2 weeks ago. We do talk a lot during the race and bounce strategies off, and until it comes down to the very end. Now, if there's a last green flag stop or something, we're not going to show all of our hand. But up until then, we do talk a lot of strategy. So we're all pretty good friends in text during the week and stuff like that.
Well, another big 2+ mile oval podium sweep for Broke Guy Racing. The team championship is looking pretty good. Now that you've used up your provisional, are you going to be racing the rest of the races from here on out this season?
That is my plan, except for, well, take that back. I will miss the week of Valentine's Day. I'm going to be on a cruise that week, so nothing I can do about that, but it is what it is. Well,
we have no doubt that you're going to be contending for podiums and wins from here on out. It's your second win of the season, 11th of your career. Jeff Langston, congratulations on another stellar performance here.
I appreciate it.
All righty. That's a wrap on Pocono.
Tommy, I just want to say Jeff is very humble. He talks about how much luck they've had this season, but you're not the first driver to double-digit wins, and now another one here tonight without a hell of a lot of skill as well. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and he was that way in Indianapolis too. He was just really humble and ho-hum about the whole thing, but he's out front getting it done. It's not like his 2 wins this season are the only time that we've seen him out front. He's been putting in some pretty stellar performances, and a couple of times has just not got the results to show for him. So, congrats to Jeff and Broke Guy Racing. And I mentioned it wasn't the best night for R&S Motorsports. Ryan Dye did get a top 5, but Nathan Reynolds slid back towards the end of the race, so they've definitely lost some ground. As Langston and Policky go 1-2. I believe they score 2 drivers. I believe that's how their team standings work. So,
and I'll tell you what, this is going to shake up the points a lot too. Ellison didn't have a good night. This is going to get interesting here going into next week.
Absolutely, and a less important points standings shake-up as well, but Jeff Langston's victory tonight will make him the leader in the Turn 200 point standings as well. We have finally knocked Ryan Vargas off the top step, and Jeff Langston will be the points leader there for sure. He was only 10 points behind Ryan Vargas coming into tonight, and he has surely scored that with a victory. with the Venom Trucks here tonight. So Jeff Langston, the points leader there. I believe this will put him back inside of the top 8, which we show in the graphic in the pre-race show every week for the points as well. So Jeff not too far out from being a points contender, but is going to miss at least one more race here this season, he said. So Jeff Langston probably not going to be in the title hunt, unfortunately. That's not going to stop him from putting in a couple more wins, and at this rate, I don't see why that can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are really motoring. Great strategy from the crew over there at Broke Guy Racing. And they have been the class of the field here for at least a couple of races this season, and I'm sure they're not done yet.
Absolutely. We still got to get Andy Policky into victory lane here this season. He's got to get his 10th career victory. He is, I believe this is his 3rd runner-up finish of the season, so he is knocking on the door for sure. So not too far away from an Andy Policky victory, I don't think. And Jeff Langston at this rate, it might win 2 or 3 more races here this season. Who knows? But anything else you want to say here before we pack up shop here in Pocono?
Well, thanks as always to everybody that watched here tonight. Had William Leach in the chat here, as well as Jacob Nagy. And thanks to everybody for tuning in to the Venom Truck Series. And we will see you guys next week for the final recruitment race of Truck 200 on Monday. And then right back here with the Venom Truck Series on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Thanks to the 2 people who subscribed to us on YouTube during the stream tonight. We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming out. And again, thanks to everybody for their continued support of Turn 200. We wouldn't be out here doing it without your support. We will be back here, like Matt said, on Monday with a final Truck 200 recruitment race from Kentucky. And we'll be back here next Tuesday with coverage of the Venom Truck Series from the Nashville Fairgrounds for the Corn Dogs and Carnival Rides 200. For everybody at Turn 200 in the Venom Truck Series, and for the GOAT, Mr. Matt Williamson, I've been Tommy Cook. Until we meet again, we say so long from virtual Pocono, where Jeff Langston has conquered the tricky triangle. Good night, everybody.